Chase Briscoe walked into Chicagoland Speedway with one goal: win his first race of the year. Nobody thought it would happen this way. Not after 2 straight runner-up finishes. Not after his own teammate came flying at him in the final laps. But something happened in the last 10 laps that shocked every fan watching. And that's exactly why Chase Briscoe just shocked NASCAR with a Chicagoland victory. It was Sunday, night July 5, at Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet, Illinois, about 50 miles southwest of downtown Chicago. NASCAR had not raced on this 1.5-mile oval since 2019. For 3 years, the Cup Series ran a street course in downtown Chicago instead. Fans begged for the oval to come back. This weekend, they finally got their wish, and the track wasted no time reminding everyone why they missed it. Rain hit the area Friday and Saturday, causing parking problems for fans heading into the track. But once the green flag dropped Sunday night, none of that mattered. It was 4th of July weekend, and America was turning 250 years old. That detail would matter more than anyone expected by the end of the night. NASCAR had a real reason to bring the series back to this track. The next-gen car had never raced on Chicagoland's rough, bumpy asphalt before. Officials wanted to see how it handled a worn-out 1.5-mile oval instead of a smooth downtown street course. By the end of the night, they had their answer. The racing was close, physical, and full of strategy. Stage 1 belonged to William Byron. He crossed the line first with Kyle Larson second, Bubba Wallace third, Austin Cindric fourth, and Chase Briscoe fifth. Chris Buescher, Riley Herbst, Denny Hamlin, Ty Gibbs, and Tyler Reddick rounded out the top 10. Byron wasn't done. He swept Stage 2 as well, leading a race-high 94 laps. At that point, it looked like Byron's night. But racing at a worn-out track like Chicagoland always brings surprises. Bubba Wallace stood out for a different reason. He drove a Space Jam-themed car all weekend, marking the 30th anniversary of the movie. Wallace's team, 23XI Racing, is co-owned by Michael Jordan, one of the movie's biggest stars. Ryan Blaney also had a strong day, finishing 7th for his 7th straight top 10 result on lap 93 right after the Stage 2 restart. Kyle Larson spun his car exiting turn 4. He slid into the wet infield grass and got stuck. Safety crews had to pull him out, and he fell multiple laps down, ending any shot he had at the win. Just minutes later, Tyler Reddick's championship hopes took a hit too. An oil leak forced him to fall off the pace with about 32 laps left in the stage. That hurt more than usual because Reddick came into Chicagoland as the winningest driver in the series this season, with 5 victories already on his record. 2 contenders gone from the fight in the span of one stage. As the sun went down and the lights came on, the final stage turned into a Joe Gibbs Racing showcase. All 4 JGR cars chased Byron down. Briscoe ran closest, but he actually hit the wall trying to keep up. It looked like a mistake that could cost him the whole night. Instead, it set up the wildest sequence of the race. During one of the caution periods earlier in the race, Christopher Bell's own pit stop went wrong. He made contact with Todd Gilliland on pit road, spinning Gilliland out and damaging the right front of his own car. It looked like it could end Bell's night early. Instead, his team fixed the damage, and Bell kept fighting his way back through the field. That patience would matter a lot in the final laps. Other teams gambled with strategy during the cautions, too. Some cars, led by Austin Cindric and Riley Herbst, chose to stay out on old tires instead of pitting, hoping track position would beat fresh rubber. Others took only 2 tires to gain spots quickly. Every choice on pit road that night changed how the final stage would play out. With 52 laps to go, Briscoe pitted from second place. Byron reacted a lap later, but Briscoe's stop was just quick enough. The undercut worked, and Briscoe jumped into the lead. For a driver who had led 2 full stages and looked like the class of the field, Byron's night was about to end in heartbreak. He held it, lap after lap, but 2 names kept closing the gap behind him: Christopher Bell and Denny Hamlin. Hamlin had actually started the race on the pole, but a bad pit stop earlier dropped him outside the top 20. He fought back through the field all night, and by the final stage he was charging again. He hit the wall too, just like Briscoe, but kept pushing. Both Bell and Hamlin drove past Byron in the closing laps, leaving Briscoe as the last obstacle. Then came the final 10 laps. Bell, racing with a broken wrist, closed in fast. He caught up to Briscoe right as lap traffic came into play. On the white flag lap, Bell was right on Briscoe's bumper. He looked for a way around him. He never found one. Briscoe's car sat perfectly in what drivers call dirty air, the turbulent wind that makes it nearly impossible for a trailing car to pass. Bell ran out of time and ran out of racetrack. Chase Briscoe crossed the line just 0.276 seconds ahead of Christopher Bell. That's less time than it takes to blink. Denny Hamlin crossed third, completing a full sweep of the podium for Joe Gibbs Racing. 3 JGR cars, top 3 spots, on one of the biggest weekends of the year. William Byron, who had led more laps than anyone else on the track, slipped all the way down to 4th by the time it was over. Leading the most laps meant nothing without the win. When Briscoe climbed out of his car, he didn't just celebrate. He gave the sellout crowd a burnout right in front of them, then stood in his window and waved to every fan still on their feet. After the season he had been having, that moment meant everything. For Briscoe, the win ended a 20-race winless streak. It was his first victory of the 2026 season, his 4th with Joe Gibbs Racing, and the 6th of his entire Cup Series career. He led the race 3 separate times for 51 of the 267 laps, including the final 46 laps straight through to the checkered flag. Before Chicagoland, his best finishes all year were second-place runs at Atlanta and Sonoma. This time, second place wasn't good enough for him. He wanted the win. After climbing out of his car, Briscoe didn't hide how surprised he was. "I did not see this coming," he said. He had qualified 7th and admitted he struggled through practice all weekend. But once the race started, everything clicked. He also shared a personal reason for the win. His crew chief, James Small, celebrated his birthday on race day. Briscoe joked that Small promised him chocolate if they won. They won. Christopher Bell's story hit differently. He's still recovering from a broken left wrist, an injury from a crash at Michigan back on June 7. He raced the entire Chicagoland event with a splint on his arm, fighting through pain most drivers would use as an excuse to fall back. Instead, he nearly pulled off the win. It was his 4th runner-up finish of the 2026 season and his 3rd second-place result in the last 7 races. Bell has 13 career Cup wins, but his winless streak has now stretched to 26 races. Every week without a win adds more weight to that streak. After the race, he summed up his frustration in one line. "I'm just a second-place driver." He said the battle at the front wasn't the only story of the night. 2 separate incidents caught attention early in the race. Zane Smith turned Carson Hocevar, sending him around and costing him track position. Later, Shane Van Gisbergen turned Austin Hill. Many believe that move was payback. Hill had wrecked Van Gisbergen at Naval Base Coronado just weeks earlier, ending his day early. Now it looked like Van Gisbergen was returning the favor.